Welcome, race fans, to the Stickers N Scuffs podcast with Cam K and GRAYDON BUNN. True Canadian race fans. This show is presented by Remax Jack. Call Remax Jack and start to pack. Green flag is out. Let's get this podcast underway.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Stickers N Scuffs podcast. Cam K here, along with my co-host GRAYDON BUNN. And we welcome back for his second appearance on the show, Brad Miller from Laps4MD. This is actually the third time only that we've had a repeat guest, so we're very excited to have you on, Brad. First off, want to know how you're doing with everything. Obviously, we're all in Ontario, so things are finally starting to open up. It seems like it's been forever since retail's been open, and so how are you doing with all of this, and what are you looking forward to as we reopen here?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, in the beginning of all this, it was a little, stressful, obviously, when people with muscular dystrophy can be at high risk for, getting such a thing. And so, it's kept us inside, but it's also allowed a lot of us to connect through social media now like this and, through video. So, that has helped me get through it. That's for sure. And I'm definitely looking forward to getting back to, hanging out with people, being able to go to a barbecue, actually being able to go and, enjoy a race at the track and, again, spend time with family and just start enjoying life again. And we think there's a lot of things we all feel like we need to make up for that we've missed.
Yeah, it's one of those things, Brad, that I think we all take for granted, that we've learned kind of throughout this entire experience that there's a lot of things that we really take for granted. I mean, even just the like you said, going to a barbecue, something that you wouldn't even think of as a really big thing. But yeah, it is great. And we're all on that same boat. We're ready to get back to the racetrack. And for some of us, it has been extra long because we weren't allowed at all at the racetrack last year. There's some people that were able to go to the track, but some of us, like I think all three of us, haven't been since at least 2019.
Right.
And that hurts.
Yeah.
That really hurts. So let's kind of revisit the Laps4MD charity, and let's go through kind of what it is and what it does. It's a very, very great concept. Obviously, we're big supporters of it. We always have our, let me see if that's Chris Jericho, but we try and move closer. We always have our, there we go. We always have our Laps4MD featured somewhere in the show. You've got one right over Graydon's shoulder. And of course, he is decked out in his Laps4MD gear. So let's talk about the program, Brad. When did it start?
I'm not Vanna White like you are. But
Yeah, let's get started, Brad, on how this whole thing came to be.
Well, again, I mean, I appreciate all the support that you've given, and seeing that in the background, the Laps4MD shirts and everything is great. And, Laps4MD did start out of a passion for racing. As a child, I wanted to be a professional racer, growing up around racing with my dad, and then my brother was, a go-kart racer as well. So that really, started the passion for racing. I remember growing up just, being small enough to sit in a laundry basket watching the NASCAR race and just pretending I was one of the drivers. So yeah, and again, that led to the need and want to be a professional racer. But then again, I was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy, which, this is where we say to a lot of people who doubt how physically demanding the sport is that unfortunately with muscular dystrophy, that physical demand just makes it really impossible to sort of pursue that dream. And so it led me to sharing my story. And then eventually I came up with the idea for Laps4MD. Again, race drivers donating $1 for every lap they lead that goes to muscular dystrophy charities. So in Canada, that would be Muscular Dystrophy Canada. And in the US, the Muscular Dystrophy Association. And the other thing I'll say is the idea also started again. I was a huge Jeff Gordon fan and watching the racing. And, the thing you notice during any kind of race broadcast, they mention laps. Oh, he's led this many laps. And then that sparked the idea of, wow, someone like Jeff Gordon would lead a lot of laps in a season because of all the laps that they do run in NASCAR. So that's why the dollar for a lap, you know, came up as the idea, because, you know, some of the, like we'll say, some of these guys will lead the entire race and then lose the race and get beaten in the last corner. So it was a way for them, and my idea, to sort of still help and, you know, in a way, donate some funds and still get that winning feeling in some way, even though no one likes finishing second.
So let's make it a little clear for everybody. Because as myself, I was not educated to what muscular dystrophy is. I'd seen and I'd heard of the title, but I had no idea what it was. So just for everybody that is tuning in, listening or viewing, what is muscular dystrophy?
Yeah, like muscular dystrophy is a muscle wasting disorder, so it can affect so many people in many different ways. The form I have is called Becker's muscular dystrophy, or Becker, and you know, the progression can be different between each individual. Again, there's many different types. So, you know, there's Duchenne, which is the kind that, you know, unfortunately will take away a child's ability to walk pretty soon. And, you know, the life expectancy is also shortened in that way, even though there's been advancements. But again, it's a muscle wasting disorder. So they, and even myself, have to worry about our hearts and also have to worry about the lungs. And so, you know, there's a lot of stress involved in it, to be honest. And not to say that we don't have our good times and enjoy life as well, but, you know, so Laps4MD in a way was sparked out of a need that I feel that, you know, we need to uplift people that sometimes go through these challenges and let them know that there's other people there fighting in the battle with them, because that's what really helped me. I mean, when I stopped working, you know, and it was because of muscular dystrophy, it becomes, you know, challenging. So having others to talk to, or even just knowing there's other people supporting you, whatever way they can, at a charity walk or whatever, definitely, you know, uplifts you and makes you feel a lot better and makes you feel like you can keep fighting.
Yeah, absolutely, Brad. And we've talked at the track and everything before, and your passion for racing goes deep, obviously, by what you said about how Laps4MD was founded. Can you elaborate? And you've told me this story before, and I like to hear it. Our viewers and listeners would love to hear it too, I'm sure. Your connection with your dad and your deep roots in racing.
Yeah, because you know, my dad grew up in marketing, so he would work with companies such as Harvey's, Swiss Chalet, and you know, he formed a good relationship with the local track, which was Mosport at the time. Now Canada's Canadian Tire Motors International Motorsports Park. However you say it, I know there's so many different things nowadays, but we'll just refer to it as Mosport. But you know, my dad would work with a lot of the drivers and sponsor cars. There was the old Cookwood's Lola, I believe it was a Lola, a yellow car, and there was Swiss Chalet on the side of it, and you know, it was Epi Wheats, and he would drive this amazing Camaro, which was brown and white. That was in the Trans Am series. So I was around in the days when, you know, I don't know, it was just, the crowds were amazing, and hopefully we'll get back to that soon. And it's just, that drove my passion, just being able to go to the track some days when there weren't race drivers there, or there was someone testing, and just going with my dad as he met with the like say the owner of Mosport there, because he had a relationship. So, you know, again, that really sparked a lot of the interest in racing. And also when he was working with Midas, he sponsored the number 02 Kerry Mix car. And, you know, I was lucky enough to travel around Ontario and Quebec with the team, and just seeing all that. And even, I mean, I was so lucky to be a part of that when Kerry Mix actually won the championship. And, you know, it just feels quite special. And, you know, I know a lot of the guys in the Cast Card now, the Pinty series, you know, they've been around for some time, and, you know, they know the ins and outs of the sport. And it's just amazing to myself with Laps4MD. I would never have thought one day that we might have a Laps4MD decal on a car and be working with the Pinty's NASCAR team. So yeah, you know, I mean, like all of us, we've been lucky to be influenced either by our fathers or friends to get into racing. Yeah.
The whole idea behind, you know, approaching a race team, asking them if they want to be a part of the program, how did that work initially? Because anytime that you're asking for money in terms of racing. What was it? Was it Dave Lloyd? I'm not sure if it's Dave Lloyd from Qwick or if it was. It may have been Joe Chisholm from Race Time Radio that said, "You don't have money in racing. You don't go in it to make money."
Yeah.
So, in a tough kind of climate, what was that first? I'm not talking like now, but that first team that you had to go and approach. Do you remember it? And then what was the response?
Oh, well, I mean, just like anyone, you dream big, right? So I sent emails out to Hendrick Motorsports and all those other big teams, hoping that might do something. But, just sending out simple requests. And then, I had to refocus refocus the idea for Laps4MD. I mean, we always want to go after the big teams, but then grassroots racing is where the fans are, and they're always there, so reaching out, the thing I felt we had is that I was just saying, it's just $1 a lap you lead, like, it's very low. So I wouldn't, expect, so I would expect that someone might be open to that idea. But yeah, I was just sending emails, and then the first person, which was Shelby Mills, said yes. And then eventually somehow I met up with Joey McComb, and then Joey jumped on that. And then that was the start of it. And, working with Mike from Infinite Motorsports and, Ben Young and Matt Garwood and them. And that really helped, get a lot of things going. And still today, though, yeah, you're going to send an email out to a team. You already know that, again, there's not a lot of money in the sport. And that's why I hope that the uniqueness and the low dollar amount of $1 for a lap you lead, will convince people to join into that. And I'll be honest with you, I have sent some teams emails twice, and they're like, "You already asked me." I'm like, "Oh, I already forgot." So, but they know we're there, and I don't want to annoy them or anything. But again, if people choose to join it, a lot of people do know we're here, and hopefully they will decide one day to join if they like. We're still here, so we're still going.
And what's the track experience for somebody with Laps4MD? Because you did mention that you were, starting out going to the cast car races, and racetracks aren't really known for being the most accessible,
right?
For somebody that has some sort of an impairment or a disability. What has your experiences been like at the racetracks that are in Ontario? Are they all pretty well conformed to being accessible for you, or do you think that there's still a ways to go? And not just you in general, but I guess as a whole, do you feel that there's room still for a lot of tracks that need to work on it? I mean, we talked before, Brad, that the TTC in Toronto isn't even completely accessible, which is ridiculous. They are fixing that this year, but what has the experience been like?
I mean, I was lucky when I was younger that it wasn't so bad, so I didn't really experience too much. I remember one time, though, I was maybe 15, 16, that I went to the Molson Indy, and I was like, cool, we got these awesome tickets. And then they're like, okay, your seats are all the way at the top up there. So with no railing at the time, I don't know if they've improved that yet. It was the longest journey of my life. And when I sat down, it was like a big relief. So, my only thing that I've noticed at tracks is that if there's no railing, it makes it really impossible to get up, and again, I mean, those things have been improving. There's new inventions coming out, like, and maybe tracks, I'll be honest with you. I was at Mosport there, and we were doing one of our Laps4MD meet and greets, and we stumbled upon this one corner where there was nobody because there was nothing set up there. And it was pretty close to everything, but the fact was, it gave us a good view of the track, and it was flat. And I was just like, you know what, if a track would even just put one little area that was like, they say they paved it and had places where people with wheelchairs and other mobility issues can come and sit without worrying about the hills and everything. And, I mean, I know there's certain things they can do, and there's a lot of expense, like I'll tell you with the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park there, they've done an amazing job at paving the place and in fixing it up. I mean, it's the money they put in there is amazing. And I think that tells you also, though, that they have future plans for future series to come. And, I'd say it, like, if you're going to run a NASCAR Cup race, I bet you there's certain things that they expect at the track. So maybe the bigger teams coming out and that will influence and they'll see the benefit of putting in extra and more accessibility and stuff like that?
The season's finally starting to fire up, shifting gears a little bit, but we're finally going to get to see some racing, and some series have fired up. What are you excited to finally check out, Brad?
Well, you know, I mean, obviously the Pinty series is going to start up soon, which is great. But the one series we were, well, at least I was looking forward to, and I think other people, was the SRX series.
Yeah.
You know, it's been really interesting, and obviously Paul Tracy's bringing the entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, and so that was one series I was really looking forward to. And I was even saying to myself, it's like, if it's a series, I think, for former champions, wouldn't that be correct? So I was thinking, like,
Yeah.
man, they should really try and get Scott Steckley in one of those. I mean, imagine that.
Oh man, like
Yeah.
the invitation list is almost endless. Like if you did, like, they have such a good talent pool there. And I mean, yeah, if they started going deeper and whatever conclusions they draw from this inaugural season, whether they choose to expand or change up the talent pool a little bit, I can't wait to see. I hope they do start recruiting, look to other countries and look to Canada, especially because we definitely have racers that could stand up with those guys. And you're right. It's that, I mean, I saw some people on social media say the series in itself is almost a gimmick, but man, it's so pure. And like you said, like, they're there sort of as, I don't want to say, it's not like exhibition, but like, I mean, they're all there to win. And you know, Paul Tracy, like when you see him with a tear in his eye and everything, I have to say, I like Paul Tracy, the bully, better than the victim, though.
Yes. Yeah.
Own it, dude.
He's kind of been really good at being the bully lately. But,
yeah.
I will say that, yeah, the SRX, we were pleasantly surprised because it wasn't something that we originally we looked at it going, it's a kind of an IROC knockoff, right? And I'd say some of the earlier races were kind of nah, but that Slinger event was by far the best that we've seen. And to me, yeah, Scott's up there, obviously represent.
Right.
But Andrew Ranger has got to be up there too. I think I made a Twitter comment or whatever, and it was, you know, some names that you could just think about adding in next year. I personally think that they need to go to 15 to 20 cars. I think it's too small.
It is.
Obviously, though, the bill was a little big with Tracy wrecking every week, but I think you get names like Mark Webber, Craig Lowndes from V8 Supercars, Sam Hornish Jr., Jill DeFerrin in there.
I'd like to see LP Dumoulin have a crack at
LP Dumoulin would be a great one. Ron Hornaday, Alex Taglioni. He's an Indy 500, you know, guy.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's so many names that they could go with this, and I'm really, you know, it would be really cool to see it. You know, how Kerry Mix is a veteran, you know, Canadian champion.
Right.
Don't know if Mixie would go down and do that after just retiring, but I'm sure if he got the call, he would be up there.
Hey, if he's on his way to Florida or something.
So, Brad, when we go to the Laps4MD program, you mentioned something, meet and greets. Are those still a thing that you guys put on, and or is it something that you guys would further like to expand on?
It's definitely something we'd like to expand on. And I guess, and the way it was is when we did our first one, again, a lot of support from Joey McComb, Canada's Best Racing Team, is we did a fundraiser through GoFundMe or Indiegogo or one of those. And, you know, we raised the money to, you know, pay for the tickets, you know, and, you know, we even had some shirts, Laps4MD shirts that we could give to them. And, you know, it was just an amazing experience. And the ability to do that and to see the one time when we invited a young boy with Duchenne in, like, he had the greatest time of his life, got to sit in the car and get up close with everything, and just a smile on his face. And, you know, it's a memory that's going to last with him, you know, for a very long time. And then, you know, the track out there in Edmonton International Raceway, we were able to work together there to get, it was Joshua versus Duchenne. That's his Twitter handle. We got him there, and to find out he was actually already a NASCAR Pinty's fan. And, you know, it was quite the experience for him. And, you know, being at the track, they even saw him and they made it special for him. So we definitely want to keep it going because, you know, there's a lot of positive effect. It's just, again, cost sometimes, you know, getting the tickets, even being able to speak to the people at the track who run the track. You know, they're busy doing a lot. So sometimes it's hard. So thankfully with Edmonton International Raceway, they're able to work with us, provide the tickets and the VIP experience, and they offer accessibility as well. And so everybody had a great time. So yeah, definitely something we want to continue.
I mean, there's so much value into it as well. Like, you know, I think we've mentioned it before, like the schedule is so diverse in that you go, obviously this year is a little different, but you go out west and then we don't really go out to Antigonish anymore, but hopefully it's back on there in 2022. But there's so many different tracks that you can have this. If you were to build that relationship with each track, then there's potential, like you have a VIP Laps4MD guest at every race, you know. And,
wow.
I mean, that's
the dream.
You know, yeah, exactly. But we see that kind of commitment from, say, actually GM Paillet at 22 Racing. They always buy a massive amount of tickets, and there's always so many employees that get to go to the races.
Right.
WeatherTech's the same, Qwick's like that, Castrol. So, you know, if we can get a company interested like that, you know, there's no denying that would be a fantastic program to put on. Sorry, Graydon, you were about to say something.
I'm not sure what I was going to say now about
I
that.
saw you leading into something. So
yeah, no, but we can lead into your fundraising efforts for your minivan, Brad. Give us the long and short of help fund Brad's minivan.
Yeah, I mean, in recent years, you know, I liked going on walks with my wife until, you know, a year ago, I suffered a pretty nasty fall and, you know, scraped myself up pretty bad. And, you know, every time I fall, I'm lucky to not have broken a bone, because unfortunately for many with muscular dystrophy, if we break our bone, the time off, it doesn't allow it to heal and we won't walk again. So I took it very serious as a wake-up call to get a mobility scooter. With COVID, it took a little bit longer to do. And again, like most people, I tried to pick the right device, which I did. And unfortunately, I thought it would fit in our vehicle. And when it arrived, the surprise is that our vehicle's too small. It's just impossible. And, you know, I also got one that came apart, but with muscular dystrophy, my arms being so weak, and I can't lift or do anything with that. I can't lift it up in the car or anything. So that's what led to the need, I guess, for a minivan, because, you know, I did my research and found that there's a certain lift that they can put in the back area of a minivan that will actually lift up the mobility scooter and place it in the back for me. And so right now, unfortunately, without it, it just means it has to stay at home. And then, so I'm still at risk of falling. And it's a big time solution to, you know, giving me the safety I need to, you know, sometimes just get out on my own, go to the beach, attend a race at a racetrack. Because I'll tell you, the last time I joined a race at Mosport, the last time we were able to, when I left that day, I was so weak, I could barely drive home. And
yeah, you know, I remember that.
Yeah. So it's like, it's definitely a need, because these minivans offer the space and the equipment that I need just to get around and I guess enjoy life and still go on walks with my wife.
Well, absolutely. It's not just, like you said, it's quality of life. I mean, it's not just getting out for recreational purposes, but I mean, even things as simple as going out and getting the groceries that, I mean, a lot of people take for granted that, like you say, you're putting, and even give us a plug about your blog too, Brad. I mean, it gives us a nice chronicle of or I don't want to say, it's a real chronicle of what things that we actually do take for granted that you have to pay a lot more attention to.
Right. And I like to say, I like to give people an authentic look at muscular dystrophy. Like,
that's a good word, authentic.
Because for me, I'm not going to fake a smile or try and portray that life is great all the time. I do have a great time, sometimes enjoy life, but when we hide those moments that are tough, it doesn't really help anybody. So I always felt like if I'm truthful about my story, people can relate to it. And, I've gotten emails from people just saying, thank you for sharing my story. It was the first blog I came onto about finding someone actually sharing their story. And, I get those emails every once in a while, and it just keeps me motivated to keep sharing my story. In the beginning, it started because I had a work-related injury, and then I started meeting other people sharing my story. And I just share what I'm going through at the moment. And at this time, that moment that I'm experiencing again is starting to use a mobility scooter just for my safety, to get out, to be free, to have my independence. And, I just hope everyone would, check out the blog. Again, it's mybeckerstory.blogspot.com. And, just an open and honest look at life with muscular dystrophy.
And we can definitely state that, it's not always an easy read. I'll say that from experience. It is sometimes it's tough to hear, but it's also an eye-opening experience.
Absolutely.
For a lot of people that, I mean, people know cancer, people know injuries, people know MS, but not as many people, I think, know what MD is.
Right.
And so I do recommend people check it out for sure. Brad's always uploading, always got some new content out there, and we do absolutely recommend, if you've got some money that you're willing to put aside, willing to help fund Brad's minivan. Obviously, we know he would greatly appreciate it. We would greatly appreciate it. There's only so much that that we can do ourselves. We've also reached out to some sources. We've tried to get some people to provide one. Unfortunately, companies are cheap and they don't want to help, even though they make millions and billions of dollars. But that's another rant for another story. GRAYDON, I know you wanted to be the one to share kind of what we at the Stickers and Scuffs podcast are doing for Brad.
Well, Brad, we're kind of dropping the bomb on you here. Recently, we're very, very fortunate to gain the support and partnership of Qwick Fire Starter. And because of that, we're selling Qwick, and what Dave and Frank at Qwick have agreed to do is I'm going to be selling 4 packs of Qwick at $6 a piece, and for the racing season, all those proceeds will go directly to your minivan fund.
Wow, I mean, that is absolutely amazing, because and I'll be honest with you, with seeing all the advertising they've been doing of a product that maybe I didn't know about 2 years ago. I mean, it just seems like an awesome product. So I'm hoping, obviously, with the need for the minivan, that people will realize that and buy this product, because camping season again, and whatever other needs you can use the this Qwick Fire Starter for. So, well, that's absolutely amazing, and it gives me a lot of hope.
It was nice. I mean, I've been very lucky to be speaking with Dave Lloyd, President and Chief Marketing Officer, quite a bit recently, and we've actually visited in person not too long ago to get this sort of deal done and pick up the product and that sort of thing. So it's really neat to see a company like Qwick, which is 100% all Canadian. There are Marcus Lemonis, if you will, the camping world, that they're supporting over 35 teams in different series across the country, and we're just very fortunate that they wanted to get behind this little podcast and support us talking about racing, and hopefully we'll be able to raise a few bucks for you. And so far, I was actually we had friends up for the first time, and we haven't seen them in a couple of years, and he bought one of my pails off me, so that's coming to you. And
Wow.
I've sold almost 10, or I've sold 10 4-packs so far. So you got
Okay.
about $140 coming your way soon there, bud.
Well, I have to thank you so much, and Qwick and their support of the racing community and the podcast. And, I mean, we haven't met before, Cam, and I know that I do look forward to that day. And,
Me too.
yeah.
we haven't met either yet, Brad.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
It's
that
coming
is coming
soon,
soon.
Sorry, I derailed your conversation. Go ahead,
no,
Brad.
no.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's just, it's just amazing that, the racing community can join and make such a difference, like for other people with muscular dystrophy, and even this deal that you've worked to try and help raise those funds for my minivan. And, I can't wait till that day that maybe I can share and maybe even do a video saying, hey, I got the minivan and here we go, and thank everybody.
Yeah, let's hope so.
We would definitely be willing to come out and do a video for that, because that's worth it. So Brad, let's get out your socials for people so that they know how to get a hold of you. Because I want to see there's a lot of teams across Ontario, across Canada. We've got RS1 that's out there now in BC. How can they contact you if they say they want to be interested in partnering up?
Well, the first thing I want them to know is that with Laps4MD, I know a lot of racing, say companies or teams, worry about, okay, where's this money going? Again, 100% of what's donated, every dollar, they donate themselves through a specific website maintained by that charity. So if you're in the US, it's Muscular Dystrophy Association Canada, Muscular Dystrophy Canada. And again, I take nothing from that. And so the best way to, join me in helping to fight join the fight against muscular dystrophy, you can DM me at my Becker story, or you can also go to Laps4MD, again, at Laps4MD, or laps4md.blogspot.com. Pretty much any way, any social media platform such as Facebook, Instagram, you can get a hold of Laps4MD, and I'm right there willing to respond and get them signed up.
We really appreciate you coming back on, Brad. Your second appearance.
Repeat offender, yeah.
It won't be the last appearance, I'm sure. We love having you on. This time we actually got a full cast for you.
Yeah, that's good.
We're not.
Yeah, you're not pinch hitting for the host here.
Yeah, we're not throwing you in the co-host chair right away. But Brad, we just want to thank you for coming on once again, and we're really excited to get to be able to interact and meet you at the racetrack, hopefully starting at sunset.
Yeah, perfect. So thank you so much, and again, thank you for the opportunity, and again, keep up the good work, because I do like watching these podcasts and all the interviews you get.
Well, thanks you so
buddy.
much. For all you guys tuning in, that's Stickers N Scuffs podcast for this week. Tune in next. We got really very, very, very exciting guest actually coming on next week from a brand new series in Canada. We're very excited to chat with this particular guest. So we want to thank Brad Miller for joining us once again on the Stickers N Scuffs podcast.